Well, if you're excited for this year's Fast and Furious entree, then I've got a Vin Diesel appetizer for you. Hello everyone and welcome to Movie Reviews by Josh. My name is Josh Terry and today I have the pleasure, the opportunity, the responsibility to tell you about XXX, The Return of Xander Cage. Xander with an X, not with a Z, hence XXX, the fraternity of secret agent spy people who have connections and backgrounds in extreme sports. Okay, I'm kind of curious about it because I have to admit, I never actually saw the first two movies. The first XXX and XXX State of the Union, which had Ice Cube, came out back in 2002, 2005, long before I was doing this professionally, and didn't have any intention of seeing them back then. And after seeing Return of Xander Cage, no intention now. So just understand that you are getting a review of a XXX movie from a guy who is not a fan. Which is why watching this movie is the first one. Now I looked on IMDb so I could kind of get a basic idea of who the character is, what's going on. I do fulfill my responsibilities as a journalist. But my main takeaway from this is that it is an off-brand Fast and Furious, and in a very, very poor way. You might remember as a kid, I remember as a kid there were the Transformers, and the Transformers were awesome, and they were the best, and they were expensive, and they were cool, and sometimes people couldn't afford the real Transformers, and so they were kind of these other toys that kind of looked like Transformers, and they were kind of shaped like some of, it kind of looks like Soundwave, and that looks like Optimus Prime, but it's obviously not Optimus Prime. That's kind of what the XXX franchise is to me compared to Fast and Furious, because you have, the big, brawny action hero, and there's lots of preposterous stunts and lots of quippy, snarky dialogue and one-liners and all kinds of action and violence and bullets and, girls in bikinis all over the place. And then there's a multi-ethnic cast that's supposed to be kind of coming together as a family and represent diversity and all this. All of those little elements are there, but it just doesn't have the charm. This is a charmless movie. It is totally devoid of personality unless loud is a personality. This, seriously, the soundtrack, the thundering bass of the music plus all of the action, it was just a ordeal, honestly, to get through. Now, at the beginning, it's corny enough and weird enough that I kind of thought about 10 minutes in, I thought, oh, this is so over the top. They are trying so hard that maybe this is going to be kind of a so bad it's good, kind of a campy experience. And that would have been awesome. But about 10, 15 minutes after that, I was just ready for it to be done. Okay, so in terms of a plot, because there is technically a plot to this movie, the plot, it's more of an excuse to hang all of the different action scenes on top of. It's not really a plot in the narrative sense, but there is a doomsday weapon. It is called the Pandora's Box, so there's originality for you. The Pandora's Box is some kind of device that's going to start World War III because it has the ability to knock satellites out of the sky. As we learn early on, because a character that you have probably grown to know and love if you love this series gets killed by a satellite that falls out of the sky. Anyway, the Pandora's Box has been stolen by the same guy who played the blind wannabe Jedi in Rogue One and Donnie Yen. And he and his crew of kind of rogues, they have stolen this device, and so the American government wants to get it back. So naturally, who are they going to turn to? A middle-aged man on a skateboard. That's essentially Xander Cage, who is now in retirement, and we meet him as he is skiing down a mountainside in the jungle. No snow, he's skiing down a mountainside in the jungle on a quest to bring cable television to the impoverished masses. I'm not making this up. That is exactly what he is doing. They bring him back in the fold. Of course, his former mentor is out of the picture because he has been hit by a satellite. And so now we have Toni Collete, who is his new handler. Toni Collete is one of my favorite actresses. She's a phenomenal actress, and I have no idea what she is doing in this movie. Not just in terms of her presence, but her performance. It looks like someone is holding a gun on her off screen because she is so deadpan. She is so, I'm not sure if she is trying to have fun with it and ham it up, or if she's just really miserable to be there, but it is a singularly bizarre performance, combining her particular delivery with this writing. So Xander Cage is recruited, and he goes and gets his little band of rogue friends, and they go off to confront the thief, played by Donnie Yen, and all of his rogues. And this is the funniest thing for me, because the thief and his crew are holed up in this, it's not even a compound. They're in the Philippines. They're basically on the waterfront. It's kind of like abandoned ancient ruins, but there's torches everywhere. There are club dancers all over the place. And the only way I could describe it is apocalypse wow. And it's awful. And Vin Diesel and his crew, they show up there, and there's a big fight, and then they find out that there's a plot twist that makes you think, oh crap, this movie's gonna go for another hour now, thanks to this plot twist. But so, like I say, I mean, I am not a fan of this. I love the Fast and Furious movies. I have a lot of fun with those. I think that they have a charm and a character that you don't expect, but when you recognize it, it makes them a lot of fun. This movie, you can see it trying to do that, but it just didn't accomplish it for me. It was an off-brand version of the genuine article, which somehow has the same actor in there. Although in these movies, for some reason, he has tattoos that look like they were drawn on with magic marker. This is not a good movie. Don't waste your time. I gave it 1 star out of 4 because when I send in my reviews, I have to mark 1 star, and they don't give me an option for 0. So, XXX, The Return of Xander Cage, is rated PG-13, and it's really not, I mean, I think PG-13 is an appropriate rating for this. There's lots of mayhem, lots of violence. None of it is particularly graphic or gory or explicit. There's a lot of sexual content. I mean, the craziest thing about this movie is that it makes the Fast and Furious movies look restrained, just in terms of being over the top and preposterous. The number of girls in bikinis writhing on screen even dwarfs the Fast and Furious movies, which is crazy. Which strangely leads to a scene where Vin Diesel's character gets into an orgy with a half dozen, a PG-13 orgy with a half dozen women. And then later on in the movie, though, they have 2 of the female characters get into a really cool shootout that has really awesome music behind it. So it almost seems like the filmmakers are trying to say, hey, we're not really sexists here. We know that we've kind of got this thing going on over here, but this makes up for it. And so yeah, there is a lot of like that kind of PG-13 level sexual content, but honestly, I think the more offensive content here is just in terms of offending the audience's intellect. So take that for what it's worth. XXX, The Return of Xander Cage, should be labeled Return to Sender. So thanks once again for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos from Movie Reviews by Josh, and keep your notifications on if you want to see it as soon as we post our new films. Now, also, we want to give a shout out and a thanks to our friends at Rockigator, makers of fine waterproof backpacks, the kind of backpacks that, say, Vin Diesel might wear if he was on a motorcycle jet ski. Thanks.